Hi everyone, it's Zara Altair with Actation Now, and this is the Midweek Zap. And today we're doing some more data diving with NOD3x, and Kara Wood is our guest. We had such a fabulous response last time. Kara is back. Kara, tell a little bit about yourself for people who don't know who you are.
Okay, my name is Kara. We've been just having this 30-minute conversation where we were so informal, and now we sort of flip into being formal for the HOA, so it's kind of funny. But anyways, hi everybody. So NOD3x came to me through a Google Plus post when I first joined Google Plus early 2013, and I thought this is a really, really cool program because this is going to sort of allow me to maybe cut some corners, and I'm going to be able to jump in and find the posts with the hashtags and find the right people to talk to. So I started working with NOD3x, and I started working with Lee, asking him questions. This was before we had the community set up. So I'm here because I've been working with it for 2 years, and I've been working with it from a point of view of just an individual using it for personal use, just trying to figure out how to find posts and how to find engagers and in that way. But I've also been using it from an agency point of view now because I also run a social media agency and I have clients which we create campaigns for and use NOD3x for that reason. But what I'm hoping we're going to cover in this particular HOA is how to use NOD3x when you first sort of join, and how to manage the relationship graph. Because for me, the relationship graph was what sold me. When I signed up for NOD3x and clicked on that relationship graph, and I saw it sort of start to, collect all the data, and it was this, beautiful visual picture. And then all of a sudden, I saw these blue dots that were actually people who were posting on the same, the same content that I was interested in. I thought, amazing. So I'm here to kind of show you guys how to use that relationship graph and how to manage the dashboard to the right a little bit.
I'm so glad you're here to do that, because I think my first response, which was in November of 2013, so a little later than you, was the visualization, because I don't consider myself tech savvy or a geek or any of those things, but somehow the visualizations just were instant connection for me. So I think your presentation today is really going to help someone. And then we had a comment earlier from Denver Prophet Jr. who says, "Hi Kara, I'm glad someone knows how to use that service. It still puzzles me to death. I had set up a keyword project. Better left to the marketing professional?"
No. You know what? Sometimes it's easy when you have someone walk you through it. And I had the luxury early on of actually having Lee walk me through it. But now, today, there are numerous YouTube videos as well as website posts, blog posts, and Google Plus posts that all will sort of help you sort of find your way on NOD3x. But today, I'm gonna open up my dashboard, and then I'm gonna go to the relationship graph, and I'm just gonna show you guys, just sort of walk you through that part of NOD3x because it's very exciting, and then I think you can get a lot of bang for your buck right away without getting too sort of going down the rabbit hole of just going, oh my gosh, I don't understand how to manage this massive program. I was speaking to someone, I think it was Sheila, actually. Hi, Sheila. And, I said the NOD3x program is basically being given the keys to a rocket ship after you've been driving a Ford Fiesta for a while. No offense to Ford Fiesta drivers, but, this is the Bentley of social media management and social network analysis. But let's just go in and just take a look at the dashboard for the relationship graph. Is that okay?
Yeah, great. Let's
go. All right. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to go into my own program, but I need to share my screen, so just bear with me. Okay. All right. So, does this look familiar to everyone? Can someone just in comments say yes, this looks familiar, or if I should go back to step one and just at least even finding the relationship graph?
Oh. Why don't you really quickly go through step one, just for
Okay.
someone who
So I'll
might
go
be
to
a
step
beginner.
one. All right. So I flipped back to my first dashboard. And we covered off the dashboard when I was here the first time. So I'm not going to go over the dashboard again. But one way that you can sort of go into the graph and look at who you're connected to in Google+, because when you sign up for NOD3x, you have access to Google+ right away. So so let's look at that. So you can use the relationship graph through here, relations, but I want to go in and I want to look at who I'm connected to and who's posting within Google+. So I'm going to click on this. Then I'm going to go into my Google+ relations. And we're just going to, just bear with me. And this is going to come up. Takes a little while.
Oh, look.
So there we go. We have the beautiful graph kind of starting to collect the data, and you can see it's happening in real time, which is exciting. And so here we have it's starting to form. And you guys can see where I'm sort of pointing my mouse is me in the center. So this is me, and these are all the people that I'm connected to. And this is running in real time, but what I'm going to, it seems to be collecting the data, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it so we get the most up-to-date information at this moment. So you come down here to this green button, and you press play. So the data is doing a little bit of a dance here, and you can see the blue node in the middle, that's me. And the green are all people who have +1'd my information, my posts. So we're just going to let that kind of start to settle in. But what I want to do is just go up here, and then we go into settings. So what this information is just set to look at the past 7 days. So if you're sort of wondering, well, can I change the scope of this? You can. But right now, what we're going to do is we're just going to go over here to the right-hand setup, and we're going to look at layout settings. And I think this is where a lot of people sort of start to get a little bit sort of confused. So just from what I've watched Lee do, and what I sort of like to look at is the way these can be set. This is sort of the different types of graphs that you can sort of take a look at. And I've actually put into the comment section a description of each one of these graphs. So you can actually go and look in the comments and see for yourself what each one means. But if I go to out degree, you can see how this sort of starts to change the graph. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to in degree. Wow, that really changes things. So the node size, you want to adjust the node size. It can sort of be between anything. I like to set mine between 0 and 3. So I'm going to change node size to 3, and that's the size of the little green dots. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is, well, I'm sorry guys, I need to back up. I like to set the node size, the maximum node size, between 13 or 15. So I'm going to set it at 13. And then with minimum node size, I like to set that between 0 and 3. So I'm just going to set it at 1. Now the label.
Can I stop you for a second?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Ask why would someone care about their node size? So we're going non-tech here, so just
yes,
reason behind your settings.
Sure. Well, node size for me actually is just a visual. It just helps me to actually kind of see the content a little bit better, and I'll show you why I'll show you why in a minute. And it just depends on sort of what you're looking for. But I sort of go with a blanket setting. Hold on. So, oh shoot, sorry guys. I see Lee is there. We're just going to flip back into my graph. I don't know what happened to it.
Here it is.
Yeah, there we go. I'm back. Oh my god. And now it's resetting itself. Sorry guys. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to go back to layout settings. So yes, so your maximum node size and your minimum node size, it sort of is a personal preference for myself, you know, because I'm not looking at it in sort of an uber sophisticated way. So for me, it's a visual thing. So I'm just going to go back to set these back. I'm going to pick 13, and you'll see why when I work through all of these choices. And then with minimum node size, I like to keep that between 0 and 3. So I'm just going to put it at 0. Now label color, I'm going to show you label color. Now that should have changed. Now I'm going to apply this. Oh, shoot. Well, that shouldn't have happened. Hold on here. What is going on? Sorry guys. I don't know why it is.
Leave it to a live demo to have things go crazy.
Oh my gosh. I am really sorry. I don't know why this is. You know what? I'm just going to reset it. Sorry, everybody. This is the non-tech version. Yes.
Right. So if you flick back to that, okay,
yes.
go to your layout settings.
Yes.
And change the label size from 10.
That's it. Yes.
Oh, you see.
Yeah, label. I'm going to set it to 5, right?
Yeah, I mean you can make it smaller and things like that.
Yes.
Try 5 first of all, and then just click apply.
Apply. There we go.
All right.
I just want to interrupt for just a second and introduce this mystical voice that is coming. It was Lee Smallwood, who cooks in the kitchen and comes up with all the wonderful things that NOD3x gives to us. So, Lee, it's just an honor to have you here.
It's my honor, actually, to be here. Thank you very much for letting me come and interrupt.
Sorry about that, guys. I was working through the choices, and I should have started.
Hey, I'm just going to do that now, so don't worry about it. All right.
Press onward.
Okay. So, Lee, should I carry on, or do you want to hop in?
No. You carry on. You did a great job.
Fantastic job.
So Lee, was I sort of right with regards to minimum node size and maximum node size? If you just sort of set it, the maximum node size between 13 and 15, and your minimum nodes between 0 and 3, is that just a safe place for people who are just starting out?
Sorry, you broke up a little bit on that. Can you just repeat that? Sorry.
Okay, I was talking about setting maximum node size and minimum node size in your graphs.
Yeah.
And I said, for myself, I like to set maximum node size between 13 and 15, and minimum node size between 0 and 3.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just a personal preference because I just...
Yeah, you're right. It is a personal preference. For me, I tend to operate within those same kind of values as well. Certainly from like what in degree and out degree is. If I just give a quick explanation of what those are. In degree basically means the number of incoming connections to that dot. In this instance, it's Kara, right? The out degree is, in this instance, how many connections Kara links out to. Okay. Now, the reason why I chose choose exactly the same parameters as you, or the values that you choose, Kara, is that if I set minimum to 0, then they'll appear just as a tiny pixel, all right? And the maximum, say between 10 and 15, then the ones with more connections, both incoming and outgoing, will show up larger, all right? So it just makes the whole graph a lot easier to focus on. And it also, it depends on what you're trying to get answers out of that graph as well. But yeah, I choose those ones.
Yeah. Okay. And then I was just moving through the label color and the label size, and then I guess that's where the my graph just went completely bonkers. So I'm just going to flip back into screen share, if everyone is okay with that. There we go. Okay. So label size. Do you guys? Well, you'll see where my mouse is hovering. And the label size is sort of what you see where you see Bobby Zen, and that's the label size. So if you have trouble seeing that or reading that, you can change that to make that larger, and then you can also change the color. And then with regards to label threshold, I like to keep it between 7 and 12. So if I just change it down to 7 and apply. It just changes. Let's see. There we go. Lee, why am I not seeing much of a change in the label sizes?
Right, okay, so the label threshold is important here.
Right.
So reduce the threshold down, which will say, I tend to use about 2, all right? But just check it, and then click apply. Okay, so that's far too many, so maybe make it 5.
Okay.
All right. At the moment, the graph is still loading circles right now.
Okay.
All right. So click apply again now. Now reduce your label size down to about say 6.
Okay. There we go.
Okay. So there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
In the background. So probably what I would do right now is remove the labels. All right. So increase the threshold back to say 12 again. The threshold. Yeah. 12, and then click apply, and that should get rid of all of those.
Ah. Okay. There we go.
All right. So from there, then you could start clicking the play button.
There we go.
We've stopped now loading circles, but now we're loading the additional relationships and the friends. So I would just let that run, and things now start to morph quite quickly. So I'd probably let that one just take place, run in the background.
Okay, perfect. So everyone, as you can see, working with the graph does take a little bit of sort of playing around and really sort of understanding what each one of those parts of the drop-down menu here sort of I'm trying to understand that. And I've put that into some notes, which I will share with you afterwards. Does anyone have any questions at this point?
I'm not seeing any questions at the moment.
Okay. Well, hopefully we haven't confused everybody.
Yeah, I just wanted to keep in mind that we're trying to get focused on someone's first experience with NOD3x, and I know that for many people, adjusting the sizes is not the first place they go.
No.
And so I think what's coming up next is going to be really key to get people introduced and to answer questions like Denver Prophet Jr.'s question about, okay, I'm here, I'm still lost.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, and where to go next?
And
well, I'm just going to sort of let this work run through, and I'm going to flip back over. So I'm just going to let this graph just run for a couple of minutes, just to so it can collect the data, so I can come back to it and then sort of show how we can use the graph to then do either some research, some outreach, some connections. Okay. Back here. Go. Stop screen sharing. Okay. There we go. So we'll just let that run for a little bit, and I'm back.
Yay. So I think what people need to know is that there's a lot of information being processed, and it is not instantaneous. I mean,
no.
used to, instant rewards and things like that. So patience is part of dealing with NODX, but as you'll see in a minute, the information that you get once NODX has collected the data is just so incredible.
Yeah.
And we're really only at the tippity tip at the top of the iceberg of what you can find inside. But I just wanted today to, help people get started, learn where to go, what they see when they go there, and how to use the information.
Yes, exactly. So, what we were working through was, to manage your graph. And the one thing that I didn't get to was, whether or not you wanted to sort of load comments, reshares, or plus ones. And Lee, when I was in my graph, I actually for some reason couldn't find on the right hand side where I could check off whether or not I wanted to just collect plus ones or reshares.
Yeah. So there's been, if I can just bring people up to date on what we've been doing. Over the last few months, I've been fairly quiet, certainly publicly, but kind of kicking like a swan. I'm not saying I'm as beautiful as a swan, don't get me wrong, not with this face and being ginger and Welsh, but in the development side of NODX, trying to simplify things and making it that a little bit easier to start stuff off. So some of the functionality we've not removed or deleted, we've just hidden certain things right now as we're optimizing other aspects of it. And one of them being is how to start a new project. And from there we've got a brand new interface which I think Zara might like. And basically what it does is, if you think of a keyword and you're not sure what words or hashtags that you want to track because you just don't know what people are using. Up until now, we've suggested in previous videos, which we're trying to update them as fast as possible, is that you say do a hashtag search on Google Plus, for example, to get an understanding of which hashtags people are using on Google Plus. Similarly, you could then try those hashtags on Twitter to see what results you were getting there, or on Facebook, etc. But of course, that's quite laborious and long-winded. There's nothing instantaneous with it. So the new project interface we've actually just launched today, and so this Hangout is the very first Hangout to see it. And if I can demonstrate it, is that?
That's amazing.
That'd be great, because Lee, just hold on just 1 second, because Lee Rickler, of course, had a question, and there's always a why.
Yeah.
So what is my number one? Why should I use NODX?
Okay, so that's a really good question, Lee, and hello, mate. So he's always good with these questions.
Yes.
The number one question we get asked is, which words or hashtags should we track? All right, and people pontificate, I love that word, over which word to actually track, and it tends to put a lot of hesitation into starting a project off, not through fear of getting the wrong results, but of missing out on vital information in order to make informed choices, right? So the number one reason before used to be, well, NODX can provide you with the who, what, where, when, and why you're using social media, the questions that you need to ask yourself, or to get the answers that you need in order to focus your attention specifically on social media to get the exact answers that you want, rather than rely on rely on generics provided by other people that have done the research, which might or might not be relevant to you, right? So NODX actually hones in on what is actually relevant to you specifically every single time. Now those 5 W's, the who, what, where, when, and why, are still a key factor here. But we still need to get to the who, what, where, when, and why. And the new project interface allows you to do that. So if I can just share my screen with you, do you mind me cutting across?
Right.
Okay. So the new user interface for creating a project is far more simpler. Okay. Basically, so we're just going to say, you know, Kara's test, Kara and Zara's test. Okay, as a project name. Now, can one of you just give me a topic that you'd like to, I don't know, to research? Something's off the top of your head.
Puppy training.
Puppy training. Okay, so should we do that as a hashtag? I don't know, so let's just try it. I've not tested this one.
Try
So
it. See what happens.
puppy training. Now, the important thing is here, rather than just leave it as text, we need to convert it to a tag. And there are two ways of doing that, just hitting the tab button or hitting the return key. Then we've got this new little button saying click for trends, all right? And by clicking it, you'll get suggestions.
Wow.
All right. Now what NOD3x is now doing is analyzing 1,000 of the most popular posts across social media. And you saw how quick in real time that was, all right, to produce those answers. And it's not just from Google Plus or Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, etc., but from all of them. All right, and these are keywords on the right and hashtags on the left that are being used by 1,000 of the most popular posts across social media within the last 5 days. All right, so here we've got, you know, you suggested the hashtag puppy training, and it's right at the top. All right, next to dog training, dog trainer, puppy, dogs of Instagram, you know, puppies, dog lover, etc. Obedience training, blah, blah, blah. All right. On the right-hand side, we've got words that are being used within posts, the content being hosted by those people. All right. Things like housebreaking, pet sitting, dog walking, house training, children, canines, pets, and things like that. All right. So what can we now do? Well, this is all brand new. So now NOD3x, this new project interface, has become a keyword / hashtag research tool as well. All right. Let alone for creating your new projects. So let's say I want to create a project for puppy training. So now I'm going to include the hashtag puppy training, and it automatically now adds it to the include section within the right part of include these hashtags. Maybe I want to add another hashtag, say to also search for obedience training as a hashtag. All right, so I've added that. Now we've got 2 hashtags in there, puppy training and obedience training. But now I'm going to start looking specifically for posts now that contain certain words. All right, so I'm going to, excuse the dog barking in the background, Dexter tries to get in everywhere. So I'm going to look for things like tips. All right, you can see it's added to all of these words. Yeah, I'm going to add, say, one more, and I'm going to maybe biting because it's obedience training. All right, so I'm going to include that, and then all I need to do is,
Lee,
yeah.
I'm going to interrupt for just a second. People are having trouble seeing. Is there a way you can enlarge?
Absolutely, I can do that.
Thank you.
All right, so can people see this now?
Yes.
That's great.
All right, so I'm just going to do that. Okay, so, and remember you can do this not just, NOD3x is actually fully responsive, so it works on mobile, tablet, and also desktops. So that's the original hashtag I did there. These are the list of hashtags here, and we've got the include, exclude buttons just there. Beneath the top 50 hashtags, we've got the suggested keywords as well that you may want to track. And then under the advanced filters, you can see that NOD3x has automatically added them to the advanced filters in the right section. Now what we do is we just click on Save the Project, right? And we get, okay, the project's been successfully created, but you'll need to adjust your data quota in order to ensure that you're applying or allocating the right amount of data to your projects. Now this is new as well, all right? And what we're trying to do here is put you in control of the data. All right. So in here we can see currently we've got 100% of the data assigned. and in each of them there's 25% data quota been applied. All right, but let's say the puppy training project, you want to apply more quota to it because it's a campaign you're monitoring. All right, so from here then I'm going to say increase that one to 50%. All right, or maybe, I don't know, should we do it 55%, just for round figure's sake? All right, I'm going to reduce or increase type 2 diabetes to say 35% for now. Okay, and then I'm going to reduce down 10% for meme, and I'm going to completely remove funny from the tracking. All right, and then I'm just going to click on save. Tells me everything's done, and away you go. All right, now that new project will start to collect data almost instantly, and we can tell that from our dashboards. We can go to the dashboard project, and from here we can select Cara and Zara test. It wouldn't have collected any data yet, so I'll leave this one running whilst you're having the conversation. All right, but this will be the new dashboard when the information starts coming in within the next, 5-10 minutes or so. All right.
That is just so exciting. That is just incredible. Thank you. Wow, and I'm so excited that it's happening the day that NOD3x is here.
Well, Zara, we love you very much, right? And it's always about trying to focus in on key moments for you to give you the
well, thank you. Yeah, key to key.
And save people from teaching everyone dated graph.
But let's go back to the graphs, Cara, and because we talked about nodes. That's what we were offering people. So
yes.
Really love to walk through at least one example, because here we are. We have 7 minutes officially more left, and I know we're going to go over, but I just wanted to see if we can actually get to that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I think we should. But what I want to ask Lee is, Lee, with all of these new additions, has it changed the graphing user experience at all? So would it make sense for us, Lee, to go in and take a look at the project that you just did for us and look at the graph there?
Well, maybe I should show you one I've previously done on something else. Yeah.
Okay, that'd be great.
That one's still collecting data.
Yeah. I think there's some new additions to the graphing that maybe Lee, can show us, because I don't want to go ahead and show everybody a bunch of dated things. And I'm working from dated information as of today. So
yes, as of today.
I don't know. Give me a topic to bring up a dashboard. I've got about 1,000 running, so anything of interest or relevant for most people.
Well, how about the music? The music one.
Music. Okay, let's have a look at music.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go there. I'm just going to let it load up in here, and then I'll quickly just share my screen.
And this is something too, for people who don't necessarily use NOD3x all the time. The projects do take a while to run. So
yeah, I mean, depending on the how can I say, the frequency. If you're choosing a very niche subject, then the frequency of posts for that niche subject could be quite long in between each post, right? If something's being talked about quite a lot, then you're going to get a lot of data. I mean, in our music dashboard, if I just show you in here, let me just load this one up. It's currently just at 94%. There we go, 100%. We can see over the last 5 days, in this one, we've got 4,500 posts from Google+, 54,000 from Twitter, 14,000 from Facebook, etc. So, and the frequency we're getting it. If you was to start this project, you would certainly see some results within an hour. This one here, I've been running it since we went to version 2, which was August 7th, 2013. So we've got, you know, a good year and a half worth of data just in this project. Now, the longer you leave a project running, the more accurate the information is, and the better it is to spot trends on certain things, right? So that way, you know, you should start seeing data being collected pretty quickly. You know, certainly within an hour, but depending again on the frequency of the posts or how niche the topic is. Right? Now, that's the music dashboard. This is the manager view. It's the version, what used to be called version 4. All right, but you're interested in node graphs. So here we have the node graphs. I'm just going to refresh this one just to collect. And this is kind of like a new view. It's available. Let's let that one just refresh because I've just updated the engagements on it, if you like. But what we're now doing is almost summarizing. This here I liken to a real-time infographic, because I can look at this information and see, you know, where the main conversations are taking place on which platform along the top here. All right. I can see the frequency of posts to spot trends, you know, in different networks. I can see an overarching view of what the opinions relating to those posts are on the right-hand side under the opinion analysis. I can check out influencers that Nodex has identified across Google+, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. I can also understand who the key engagers that are engaging on those influential posts across Google+, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, if there are any. Yeah. I can see from a geographic perspective where in the world they are. I can see Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa, North America, South America. I can check out what words are trending within the word cloud here, or I can see which hashtags are also trending the most. Okay. Now, from here I can also create a hashtag relationship graph, and I'm just going to click on that because that's another node graph which people may be interested in. And then from here I'm just now going to go back and look at this. So let's have a look at Twitter as an example, and you know, I can run this again, but you can see we've got nodes in here which have got blue, which represent tweets, and orange actually represent favorites in this specific instance. Now, as it stands like that, it's quite messy, but if I click on the play button, things get reorganized into a bit of a logical pattern, making it easier to see. And one of the things that you went through, Cara, was adjusting the settings to make us, you know, trying to make it a little bit easier to understand again. So again, I reduced node size down to 0 for minimum, increase node size to say 10. I'm going to change from simple, I'm going to do in degree, and you can see here now it starts to change a little bit faster. And I can see the posts then, the larger the blue node, it represents more engagement happening on that post. All right. Now from here we can just hover over the node and we can see exactly who they are. All right. If I want to, then I can say, well, let's just maybe make the label. Sorry, let me make that one 10, and sorry, that's the label threshold. Label threshold down to 2. Label size to say 6, and then just click apply. Now you can see one of the new things is that the larger the node here, and this is a new change, the larger the label size. All right, so it's representative of what's going on. So let's just make this a little bit easier to read. I'm just going to drop that one down to about 8 and just remove all the extraneous ones, the ones which aren't really receiving any form of engagement. Yeah, and let's just make that, yeah, that's fine. Now in here then, I can now click on one of these nodes, let's just say, and just see what they're posting about. Yeah, and I can see the post here that it's on Twitter, and if I wanted to interact with that post, I can do it directly. You know, if I want to retweet, reshare it, sorry, reply or retweet or favorite, I can do it directly from here. All right, I don't have to leave. Similarly, let's have a look at this post. You know, it's all very much music related.
I just want to interrupt. So did you get rid of deselecting and selecting profile strength? Because I don't see that as an option.
We've actually, what we've done, we kind of surveyed. Profile strength is in there, but we built it into the algorithm because people were finding it confusing. However, if enough people scream about it, then we can add it back.
Okay,
right?
all right. Because I was going to talk about that you can select or deselect. So this is fantastic that you popped in, Lee.
Okay, no problem.
It's really incredible. It's just amazing.
Thank you. I mean, you can do the same like on Instagram as well. Let's just see what Instagram produces, and this is quite an interesting one. So let me just do this. There's a lot of stuff going on here. What I'm going to do is just remove all of these labels right now. I'm going to fetch some engagement updates and profile updates on there. I'm going to, let's remove or increase the label threshold just to remove those things, and I'll click on the refresh back on that one in a moment, and let's see what that one produces. But we'll start receiving updates on that, fairly quickly. So go back to Instagram, and yeah, they're still coming through. Now, in terms of, let's have a look at another one we prepared earlier in terms of like a hashtag graph, where you can kind of start to see clusters forming. And clusters and groups of nodes, how they congregate together, are extremely important from an identification perspective. Now, these are, once you create a graph, you can save it so it doesn't have to load as much again. But this one you can see is fairly complex, and when you first look at it, it's like, oh my lord, what am I looking at here? Well, it looks like a hairball, but actually it's not a bad representation of noise across the social media in general. All right. Now there are blue colors in there, orange, there's some red and dark blue, light blue, and they each represent the different data source or social network where you got it from. Okay. Orange is Instagram. Red, Google+, light blue is Twitter, dark blue is Facebook. And as it stands, if you're trying to understand or fight to get your content seen, then you're like, well, where do I start? There's so much going on. So the first thing is you can change a few of the settings in here. Again, the cog is always a good place to start to look for settings, which is always in the top right. Let's just apply some new things to this. Again, minimum node size 0. I'm going to keep max node size as 10. Make it in degree. Yeah, I'm going to make the label threshold 2. I'm then going to increase gravity to 5 and change the engine, if you like, from Fructa to Force Atlas. The whole post on these kind of stuff. Some geeky terms in there which you don't necessarily need to know. If you were to follow what I've just done there, your graphs will look pretty every single one at a time.
We don't necessarily need to know what gravity is?
No,
okay.
Gravity is kind of like the same thing as the gravity surrounding the planet.
Okay.
If you increase gravity, it brings things more. If you decrease gravity, it makes things bounce. Mm-hmm. All right, it's kind of that same principle. Yeah. But once I've done those settings, I'm now just hitting on the play button, and we turned a hairball into some insightful information without even looking at anything else. All right. Remembering that dark blue was Facebook, orange was Instagram. Yeah, light blue was Twitter. The green one is the hashtag we were actually tracking originally within the project. And here we've got this cluster in the top left-hand corner here, which I'm just going to zoom in on. All right, and zoom here and keep zooming in. From here, I'm actually just going to increase the label size on this one, click apply on there, and then just keep zooming in. Okay. Now what we've got, actually, let me make that a little bit easier to read. Okay.
Yeah. Using the zoom in and out is really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Label threshold 1 and node size, make that 1. That should make things a little bit easier to read. Okay. So what we've done now is zoom in on a very niche topic area related to copywriting. Okay. And there are, this is done in all languages across all countries, so we haven't applied any other filters to this. All right, so we just so happen to fall on what I believe is like maybe Malaysian in there. So unfortunately, I don't speak Malaysian, so I'm going to zoom out of that one, and I'm going to zoom in on another niche over here. Let's still focus on Instagram. All right, and let's have a look at this niche cluster over here. Right, so copywriting. In this one, we've got hashtags that are being used within this cluster: articles, freelance writing, research, press releases, research papers, custom essays, grad school. So this one we kind of get, there's an education feel surrounding it in this cluster. All right, so if you were or in the niche of education, then probably and trying to focus on Instagram, trying to understand which hashtags you should be using, all right, to reach this cluster of people, because this is what we call the human element. All right, these connections have been made purely by humans only, using them on their posts. That's it. All right, all NOD3x does is make those connections for you, so you don't have to do it manually. All right. Let's have a look at another one. I'm just going to zoom all the way back out again.
Lee, while you do that, we have a question, and I hope it's just been answered, but this was a question from Ali Akbar Tabar. I have a question. How much do you plan to work on network part and relational part in NOD3x? I mean, so far you've been focused on content, as I have understood, but is there any plan to add people's network to contents map and graph?
Okay, can you leave that question up just so I can reread it? I have a
Yeah.
question. Plan to work on network part and relational part in NOD3x, and so far you've focused on content, as I've understood, but is there any plan to add people's networks to content map and graph? Actually, that's already in place. All right, you'll be glad to hear. And it's a really good question as well, Ali, and nice to see you again, fella. So let me show you what I mean by that. And in the project settings, all right, we can create a specific type of project, all right, where under the advanced filters, I can select the project type. Now, here I'm ignoring this new functionality that's been added today, and I'm going to change the project type to social profile project, all right. Now what this is then going to do, it will analyze, if I put, say, my Twitter account in here, all right, and this is not blatant promotion for people to start following me on Twitter or anything like that, so please excuse that. Actually, Zara, what's your Twitter profile? Let's use you.
It's Altair Zara, so it's ALTAIRZARA.
Okay, so there we go. All right, I'm now going to turn that into a tag by hitting Enter or the tab button, just like so. And I'm just going to click on Save. Okay. Now let me explain what this will now do. You can add in social profile links in here from Google+, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And depending on the allowances that each of the platforms provide, I can give you a quick overview. Google+ enables you, this will go back now, NOD3x will go back historically across each of those social networks and collect historical data from each of the profiles that you list in there. All right. So, for example, it will pull in 5,000 of your posts on Twitter. That's Google+, Zara, if you added a Google+ URL in there. It will provide approximately 3,600 from Twitter, about 2,000 from Facebook, and 2,000 from Instagram, historically. All right. But immediately that you click Save, what it will then also do is track every single post you make, all right, because we're looking at your profiles here right now. Every single post that you make going forward into the future until you tell it to stop. It will not miss a post. Now, why is this important? Well, if you're, rather than from a content perspective, you're looking from an analysis of your own, and to answer Ali's question now, is now looking and honing in very specifically on you, or maybe someone you're doing research on. You know, maybe you're researching someone that you're interested in hiring for a job role, all right? Or maybe an education department is looking at choosing which grad students, undergrads, or postgrad to attend on their PhDs, or whatever, you know, based on what they're talking about online, right? You can use this from your perspective to analyze who your key engagers are for your content, what the best time of day and day of the week that your current and existing audiences are more likely to respond to your content, all right? You can also use it to provide answers on which type of content your current network or networks prefer to consume, be it pictures, video, you know, text-based, all of that kind of stuff. So it provides a different focus than looking at the wider discussion if you were tracking a hashtag or keyword. Does that make sense?
That's really wonderful. And Ali, that was just such a great question. And Lee, I have one more question. Let me take you out of
No problem.
stop presenting for a second and bring up Jessica Maynard's question. If I was doing a hashtag contest across several platforms, would this be a good tool to help me choose winners?
Yes.
Yes, there you go. Jessica, simple answer to Nourish Diva. I know that's what the hashtag is.
Jessica, that's such a great question, because generally for contests, you're going to come up with a unique hashtag, right? It's what we call a branded hashtag, so that will be related to the competition so that you can track it. Yeah. But you also want to kind of expand the reach of your post as well to kind of create greater awareness, maybe of a competition, or if, let's say, it's a campaign. You know, so one of the new things that you can do, let's say you've already got your branded hashtag for the competition, you know, we can then say, well, let's have a look at a hashtag saying that says competition, yeah, and I'm going to just click for trends on here now. I'm analyzing top 1,000 posts relating to competition hashtags, and here will help you identify additional hashtags to use. And we're not saying you should use, you know, hundreds of hashtags. Try and limit it, you know, between 2 and 4 maximum. You don't want to be associated with hashtag spam, yeah. But this will help you kind of align your competition with other competition people that are or interested in taking part in other competitions, right? Now, that way you're going to get deeper penetration, greater reach, and you're bordering then on the viral aspect of social media, because people are more likely to reshare your post or include your hashtag as or not. Yeah.
I call that reverse engineering, Lee.
It is reverse engineering.
When I go in and do that, you know, look at what is being already used. Gives you a really, really great.
Yeah, we don't need to, you know, reinvent the wheel here, right?
Right, exactly. You know what, Lee and Kara, we are way over time.
Sorry.
And I cannot thank you enough, and I'm so excited that, you know, it's like today's the day, you know.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
It is so fantastic, and thank you for your surprise visit and joining us.
Very well.
And Ali has one comment here. He says, so interesting, this total graph of Google Plus and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Just wow. Well done, Lee Smallwood, NOD3x.
Thank you, Ali.
Agree.
We got a big team working on this right now, so I can't take all the gratitude you're just passing over to me and niceness, but I will pass it on to the whole team.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just unbelievable. And so user-friendly, too.
It is.
Everything that you guys tweak, just, you know, is
fantastic.
I'm watching a little bit here now, so thank you.
Fetching suggestions. There's something for puppy training.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you both. Thank you both so much. Thank you, audience,
Yeah. Thank
for
you.
being with us and your comments and your questions, and staying with a couple of glitches we had right at the beginning. Want to thank you so much for that. And we'll see you next week. Thank you all.
Bye.
Brilliant.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Bye.